Why Kenyans should reject America's Ebola quarantine plan. Kenyans have taken to the streets in protest, and as of June 2nd, 2 citizens have been shot dead by police. Not over fuel hikes or election fraud this time, but over something quite strange. A plan by the United States government to send Americans exposed to Ebola abroad to a quarantine facility on Kenyan soil, rather than repatriating them home. The planned facility. The facility, reportedly planned at Laikipia Air Base in Nanyuki, would be equipped with 50 quarantine beds and staffed by 30 American medical personnel. The White House announced the plan on 27 May 2026. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio stated the facility would be operational within 7 days, adding that the administration could not and would not allow any Ebola cases to enter the United States. Meanwhile, Kenya is eyeing a pledged $13.5 million from the United States to strengthen its domestic Ebola preparedness. By Friday, 29th of May, Kenya's High Court suspended the establishment of the facility and the arrival of any foreign patients pending the hearing of a case filed against the deal. Medical workers and activists have stood firmly against the arrangement. Yet President William Ruto offered little reassurance to an alarmed public, telling the press, "I can assure the people of Kenya that the agreement between the government of Kenya and the American government is for the good of our country and for the partnership. We are a responsible government. We know what we are doing, so people should relax." The people of Kenya, evidently, are not relaxed, and Ruto does not seem to know what he is doing. Understanding the Ebola threat. Ebola virus disease is a zoonotic, viral hemorrhagic fever affecting humans and other primates. Historically, it has occurred primarily in outbreaks across tropical sub-Saharan Africa, with mortality rates historically ranging from 25% to 90%, depending on the virus strain, speed of treatment, and quality of care. There is currently an active outbreak of the Bundibugyo Ebola virus in the Democratic Republic of Congo, which has since spread to Uganda. According to the World Health Organization, as of 29th May, there were a total of 134 confirmed cases, including 9 in Uganda, and 18 deaths across both countries. Kenya, sharing a border with Uganda, is itself a high-risk region. However, the Ruto administration's willingness to import patients from abroad is just too reckless. Looking at the record, the USA has recorded 4 Ebola cases on its own soil across previous outbreaks, has evacuated 7 patients from abroad, and has recorded 2 deaths among those 11 cases. Kenya, by comparison, has never witnessed a single laboratory-confirmed case of Ebola since the virus was discovered. That record is now being gambled away. A question of whose lives matter. The logic driving this deal is one of American exceptionalism turned money diplomacy. In an interview with Scripps News, Admiral Brian Christine, Assistant Secretary for Health at the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, said, "Our primary concern is to keep Ebola virus out of the United States." He justified the Nanyuki facility by pointing to American investment in the region's health infrastructure. It is an honest admission. While the U.S. is proposing to shield its soil from Ebola, it is fine with using Kenyan land as a buffer. That Ruto's government has entertained this arrangement shows a worse trend, a brand of leadership so conditioned by dependency and transactional diplomacy that it has lost the instinct to protect its own people. In recent months, Kenya has drawn criticism for selling land to Israeli nationals, extending hospitality to French troops, despite widespread rejection across the continent. It now may be hosting a foreign medical facility. A pattern that must be broken. Many African communities have a painful history of being used as a site for medical experimentation and exploitation by external powers and their local collaborators. Flashing back to these, the concept of foreign quarantine bases must never be normalized, let alone codified into international agreements. The Kenyan people's resistance is a legitimate assertion of dignity and national security. A government's primary responsibility is to protect its citizens, and in Islamic political and legal thought, this duty extends further to safeguarding what is classically known as the Zaruriyat al-Khams, the protection of life, intellect, lineage, property, and religion. Any arrangement that exposes these essential interests to risk, or that appears to prioritize foreign lives over local ones, is therefore a breach of this foundational responsibility and a betrayal of the state's core duty to its people.